Welcome, wrestling fans, to the PW Fan. The PW Fan is a pro wrestling podcast created by fans for fans, and we appreciate you joining us for episode 19. I'm your host, representing the old school wrestling fan and your favorite barber, Tim Gilbert.
And I'm your host, the architect of pro wrestling podcast, Andy.
I'm also your host, the No Selling Wrestling Indie Fan.
All right, guys. Today we got a great show. We're going to be covering Corey Graves being cleared by WWE to compete, Wardlow versus CM Punk, Lita returning, and more. But just a reminder, like I said last week, we are now doing video. So if you want to watch us on YouTube as well as listen, head on over to our YouTube channel. All you got to do is search The PW Fan. And don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel as well. Leave us a review on iTunes and give us that 5-star Dave Meltzer rating on Spotify. For merch, go to prowrestlingtees.com/thepwfan to get your pocket logo shirt. All right, guys, I think we should just jump right into it. Andy, why don't you start us off?
Alrighty. One of the first things you had mentioned that we were going to cover today was Corey Graves is cleared by WWE. Now, cleared as in, I believe he's basically off of the no contact list. I don't think it has anything to do with, now he's going to be written back on the TV or sent to NXT or whatnot. I could see him being a Royal Rumble surprise. I think that's probably really realistic, but my thoughts on it, he's one of the best commentators they have on these shows. I don't see them wanting to give up that spot, very easily like that. But what do you guys think about Corey Graves getting cleared?
I mean, for me, I think it's really cool to see those people, because I watched him at first in NXT when he was a wrestler, and I thought he was pretty good. His character, I don't know how he comes back now from being a commentator and his commentating character, so to speak, to if he wants to wrestle now, because I don't see that as translating into a wrestling gimmick at all. I don't know about you guys.
So Andy keeps saying that I'm going to have this hot take on Corey Graves. My only hot take on Corey Graves is that if you go back and watch his early NXT stuff, it's not like he's this crazy worker, who was super over. I think his career got cut short, and it's unfortunate, right? So I think it's cool that he's getting another chance to compete and maybe finish out his career the way he wants to. But I mean, let's not pretend this is a legend coming back for in-ring action. I mean, it's sad that he got hurt. I'm just saying, I'm speaking the truth. It sucks that he got hurt, but it's not when Edge just now that Lita's coming back, and to me, it's not, I'm sorry, it's not in the same category. And compliment to him, because I don't want to just shit on him, the dude. He is the most valuable announcer they have besides Michael Cole. So, is he going to go back to in-ring action full time? Is this just going to be an appearance? Is he going to just make a Royal Rumble appearance? Who knows? But because I said off air that I was he's okay, and Andy was oh, you're going to have a hot take on the show, and no, it's not a hot take. It's just I'm just not thinking it's people are making it out to be a huge deal, and I'm okay, no, it's cool. I just don't. I don't know. I don't even feel that's being rude, if I'm being honest with you. It's just I'm happy that he's coming back. It's just he's not a Hall of Famer.
I don't see them really doing too much.
But isn't he not in shape at all?
What'd you say,
he might
Jeremy?
not be in ring shape anymore.
Because I feel he stopped working out. Yeah, because I think he said he stopped working out and doing all this thing because he couldn't wrestle anymore. So he's what's the point? So I'm is he even in the ring shape?
Maybe he's dad bod
to come back.
But in-ring shape is different than physical shape. So, he could get back to the in-ring shape, but true. Maybe not the physical shape he was in. He was lean.
I was just
for the most part.
Andy, I was just wondering, and Jeremy, you can chime in here too. What's your favorite Corey Graves match?
Dude, I think I've only ever seen one. It's him versus Seth Rollins in NXT.
That's all I'm saying, dude. That's all I'm saying.
I can't even remember.
That's all I'm saying.
Well, the thing is, I wasn't watching NXT. I wasn't watching NXT at the time he was in it. It was a little bit after that. You said you were at the time, I think. But
yeah, because
wasn't it like 6 years ago?
Gosh, maybe even more than that at this point. See, he was in the original incarnation
Or longer
in
than that.
NXT. I think when Rollins was there still. Adrian Neville, Bo Dallas. There was like a whole early NXT.
Big E.
Yeah.
He was Big E Langston.
Big E Langston.
Right? Was it?
And so
Or
what?
did it was last
Yeah, it was
year?
Langston.
Corey Graves got like concussions, right? I think that's what it was.
I think it was
I don't
that.
think it was a neck
Yeah.
injury. I think it was concussions for Corey Graves. But
My
we'll just
thing
have to
is
see where it goes.
about the concussion.
If anything's going to happen, it'll be the Rumble. Okay.
Yeah. No, I was going to say that.
No, what's your take on the concussions?
I'm going to have to look it up. No, I was going to say I'm going to look it up. Like, I'm just curious how these guys like Daniel Bryan and stuff, like, you know, they have these not traumatic, because traumatic brain injury is something different, but they had these concussions, and, you know, obviously it's pretty serious, but somehow they're able to come back and compete. I'm just wondering, like, is there a treatment that they're doing? Like, do they see? They probably see like a specialist of some kind, but like, how at one point was it not okay? Is it okay now? Like, did we find out something in science? I'm just curious. Like, I'm genuinely curious.
I mean, it could be something like time in your brain heals, you know, as so many years go by.
I mean, that'd be great. I mean, yeah,
like Daniel Bryan
so many
did like
other
every
parts of
test
your
under
body
the
heal.
sun.
Right.
Yeah. I don't know. We're just going to have to wait and see for the Rumble, but you guys want to get into Raw?
Yeah, sounds good.
So the show opened up with a segment that I thought was really funny, but it was Brock Lesnar and Bobby Lashley. They had an in-ring segment together. You know, I thought it was going to be kind of back and forth, but really it ended up being a one-sided thing with Brock. All Bobby really ended up saying was that Brock has been ducking him for years. And man, Brock gets on the mic and he doesn't need Paul Heyman to talk for him. He is just cracking jokes. He says for the last 20 years, he's been winning championships in this ring and in other rings. He says, I didn't know who you were until I met you at day one. Brock also says, it's your fault you didn't climb the ladder of success and enter into the same arena as I did, because if we had met, I would have beaten you and you wouldn't be here right now. And we wouldn't be here right now. Bobby calls Brock a comedian. And then Brock does a knock-knock joke. And he goes, hey, Paul A. knock, knock. Paul Heyman's kind of stunned. He's like, Brock Lesnar's doing a knock-knock joke in Philadelphia. I thought I've seen it all. He says, who's there? He says, Bobby. Bobby who? And he says, exactly. And then at the end of the promo, Brock says, it's impossible to beat Brock Lesnar, and it's even more impossible when you're a Brock Lesnar wannabe, and then literally does a mic drop and walks out the ring. I thought it was, I mean, we've all talked about, we all love Brock
segment
lately, in especially these in-ring, you know, on the mic kind of segments. I think the Rumble's only like maybe 2 weeks away, I want to say, but it'll be interesting.
It's pretty
It'll be
close.
I love the
interesting how this
Rumble.
match
I
goes.
still love the Rumble.
I wonder if it's I think it's my second favorite pay-per-view, WWE wise, outside of like WrestleMania. You know, Rumble's always fun, but for these two to get in the ring together for the first time ever, I'm wondering if it's going to be like a quick match, or if they actually give them a little bit of time. But I mean, they don't need too much time. But I don't want like a Goldberg Brock match. I know you got like these two huge guys, you know, going at it, but like, you know, Bobby can wrestle. I mean, you know, Brock's capable of having decently long matches with people that can actually go, unless you're throwing a monster at him. But yeah, what you guys think of the segment or the feud or anything that, you know, entails both of them?
Yeah, I'm really curious to see how long this match is too, because I feel like it shouldn't be long. It shouldn't be more than, you know, like 15 minutes, really. At
No,
least to me.
definitely not.
So I feel like
Definitely does not need to go more than
yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah. Because I feel like a lot of Brock's matches are like the stare downs at first, or like they do a big spot and then it's sort of like walking around, which it's not a bad thing. It's just like that's his style because he does a lot of explosive moves. But yeah, this segment though was hilarious. Like I was watching it and I remember you texting us like Brock is hilarious, and I'm like, where has this guy been? Like I don't know what's happened. Like you said, like would the pandemic make him like funny and
He
like,
likes people. He
happy
likes
or
people
something?
now.
Yeah,
Also, that's another thing.
Yeah, he likes people.
I've been seeing those memes that's like, what's going on? Brock's happy and likes people. He's like taking selfies with fans and shit.
Yeah. He did that like the person was filming it, and he like goes over and takes.
Oh,
a selfie.
at day one, yeah.
What? Like, it doesn't make any sense. Yeah. Yeah, I can't wait till the match though. I think it's gonna be pretty good.
How about you, Tim?
I mean, honestly, it's pretty cool. Just in the fact that, so Brock left in like 2000, late 2003, early 2004, or maybe late 2004. I can't really remember at this point. It's almost been 20 years, but, and then Bobby Lashley came along shortly after, and it was one of those things where in my head, just because of the build, like his physical build and how big he was, I was like, oh, this guy kind of reminds me of Brock. And then he also moves really quick, and he is very agile as well. So that always kind of reminded me of Brock. So it's almost reminds me of like almost like one of those like fantasy video game matchups where you're like, all right, what if Brock Lesnar came back and fought Bobby Lashley? So yeah, now that they're in the same place at the same time, I'm surprised it's taken this long to finally do something together, but it's cool.
I think as a kid, you and me talked about, this match possibly happening, or wouldn't it be cool, if it did, kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, it's like the same thing when you think about Brock versus Goldberg, or Brock versus Batista. A lot of the times, unfortunately, two big guys don't deliver, but Bobby and Brock are both very athletic and skilled and talented. So I mean, if there's going to be two big guys that give you like a incredible athletic match, I think it would be these two guys.
I agree. So yeah, we'll just have to wait, I guess, like 2 more weeks and see how it goes. But moving on from that,
yeah.
RK Bro had a match against the Alpha Academy, and they lost on Monday Night Raw. They lost the Raw Tag Team Championships. So your new champions are Chad Gable and Otis. I think the story that they've kind of been going with lately with RK Bro is that Riddle kind of just does his own thing, doesn't listen to Randy. They even made I think a shirt that says like "Listen to Randy" or something. Oh wait, no, they didn't. They made a shirt that just says "Hey Randy," but no, like Randy Orton had to write on Riddle's hand to be like, if you need help, like tag me in. Like they've just been going through over and over, like to listen to Randy. And I think in this match, Riddle did something foolish and it ended up costing them their titles. So I'm wondering if down the line, like maybe WrestleMania, do we have like, does the group split and we have Randy Orton versus Matt Riddle? I don't know. I could see it happening, but I know Tim at least hasn't been high on RK Bro, but what do you guys think of, crowning new champs? Maybe a feud between Riddle and Randy in the future.
I think a feud would be pretty cool to see. And I kind of like, it seems like it's WWE's like method of when a tag team breaks up, they have to face each other, or they have to like break up at least. But yeah, this kind of came out of nowhere. I'm really happy that the Alpha Academy actually won, because they're actually really good. I like them a lot. And I'm not really that high on, ironically, on Matt Riddle, or that RK Bro team, and just I don't know, just his character. I'm like,
God knows the audience
I don't
loves
like
him,
it.
dude. The audience loves RK Bro.
I know. I'm just like, why?
I'm indifferent about him. It's whatever. How about you, Tim?
Yeah. What do you think, Tim?
No, I mean, I think. Sorry, I was just listening. My daughter is just learning to. My daughter is just learning to talk, and I could hear her outside my door saying my name while my wife puts her to bed. So I just wanted to say good night to her on air, and hopefully one day when she's old enough, she can hear this. But anyway, no, I think every tag team needs to, end at some point. I mean, not necessarily. Like, there are career tag teams, the Road Warriors, the Dudley Boys. They try doing things apart. It's just doesn't work. But this started off as a thrown together team. These guys were both single competitors before the tag team. So it's one of those things where you're like, okay, how long is this going to last for before this goes back to how things were? I just hope that, since it would be fun for me, just as a fan, that since the tag team itself was kind of silly, they would joke around with each other and it was kind of happy-go-lucky, like we're buddies kind of thing. If it was a brutal breakup, like whoever, I'm sure it's going to be Randy ends up being the bad guy, because Riddle being a heel, I don't know. I don't see it. But if it was like Randy, like, destroys Riddle and becomes like evil again,
like the Festival of Friendship,
and like, have it be, have it be like a real breakup, like if it's gonna end, let's do it where you go all out.
Biggest swerve would be if Riddle's the one that turned on Randy. No one would see that coming.
That would be weird,
Riddle, but I don't know how his goofy persona would fit.
How would Riddle work?
I don't know.
He switched from indica to sativa, and he becomes heel.
Yeah.
Yeah. That explains it.
So I mean, it's not like they've broken up yet, but I mean, I wouldn't doubt that it's coming later down the road. But speaking of tag teams breaking up, afterwards, later in the night, we had Nikki ASH and Rhea Ripley in the ring. And Rhea basically tells her that ever since, they lost the rematch for their women's tag team titles, that Rhea was like, I'm just going to kind of go back, do my own thing. It was supposed to be a fine, clean breakup. In the end, Nikki ASH is the one that attacked Rhea. She went from a superhero to a supervillain.
That's kind of what we were talking about, though.
So, I mean,
that exact swerve.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you wouldn't normally picture Nikki doing it, but I mean, look, I never really liked this tag team in the first place, and I never liked the Nikki ASH character. I liked the old Nikki.
I never liked it. Yeah.
There was the original like crazy Nikki, and then there was just like the same character but not crazy, and then it became like Nikki ASH. I was a big fan of the crazy Nikki from NXT.
What was the name of her group when she was crazy?
Saw her live actually one time. Oh God.
What was it?
They had that weird song. I was like,
shit, dude.
Yeah, I can't remember.
I'm trying to.
It's like some weird shit.
Yeah.
Well, you had you had Eric
really
Young.
Good. I like that group.
It was Eric Young, her, and Killing Dane.
Oh yeah, it was like a bunch
and
of.
And then the guy that was also in
is
Imperium for a little bit.
Somebody's listening right now, like yelling at their steering wheel, like blah. Like they know the answer, and we don't.
God, dude, I'm sorry, it's been so long. Sanity. There we go.
Someone's like, come on,
look it
come
up.
on.
They were big in
got
NXT, but
yeah, Sanity.
Sorry, can't remember everything. But yeah, I mean,
that was like years ago. By
dude,
now.
I know it doesn't even feel that long ago.
And then I think they came out like one or two times on like SmackDown, and just like nothing ever happened with it. So, but
yeah, Vince didn't get them.
Yeah, he doesn't get a lot of things, but that's a topic for another day. So we'll have to see where this feud goes. I mean, personally, I don't want to see Rhea feuding with Nikki ASH, but I guess we'll just have to wait and see what the long-term plan is. I know we don't cover it, but AJ Styles did have his match against Grayson Waller finally on NXT 2.0. It was all right. You know, if AJ can make anyone look really good in the ring, I'm just hoping that AJ's done with NXT, and it was just, you know, a way to get eyes on the brand. So just stick back with Raw, please.
It was cool for a second, but I'm like, all right. Yeah, go ahead.
But I'm hoping just, you know, that was just a one-off, you know, give Grayson Waller other NXT opponents. Yeah. I mean, at the end of their match, AJ called out he said, I got an old buddy, and then it was LA Knight came back out, which he was feuding with Grayson Waller a little while ago, so I guess this feud isn't over yet, but there's a way to set that up and bring it back, so keep AJ on Raw. But yeah, you guys want to get into Dynamite now?
Let's go.
Yeah, sounds good.
Alrighty. All right, Dynamite this week opened up with Adam Cole and Red Dragon. They came out. The Young Bucks came out. There was talk on the mic mainly about I believe Orange Cassidy and like the Best Friends, because that's who they're feuding with right now. And then out comes Orange Cassidy and the Best Friends, who attack the Young Bucks, Red Dragon, and Adam Cole. Chris Statlander then also comes out to help out. Who comes out to even the score with her? Britt Baker. So they're finally bringing the on-screen or the backstage stuff, which they've talked about it on TV, like with the Tony Schiavone, Adam Cole thing with Britt Baker, but she's never actually gotten involved with Adam's stuff on TV. So she comes out and starts fighting with Chris Statlander. After, you know, basically beating up the Best Friends, Adam Cole tries to do that thing with the Young Bucks, you know, give him a kiss on the cheek, but Britt Baker comes around and steals the kiss instead. And look, this part really showed me that, or not showed me, but like this part put Adam Cole in the spotlight over all the other members. It was kind of like his moment, you know, it was all about him. He was the one on the mic the most. So I think we're slowly starting to get that star, Adam Cole, slowly climbing up the AEW ladder, which I'm excited to see. So, yeah, what you guys think?
He said it was coming. This was an awesome opening segment. I mean, the Britt Baker and Adam Cole thing, it's just like an easy, like it was so obvious, I should say, that when they did it, it was like everyone was so excited about it. Because it is a perfect pairing. Like, obviously they're together, but I mean, like, on screen, it's like they're a perfect pairing and she's part of the elite, I guess now.
I guess. I mean, it also works. I mean, they're both like heels. It wouldn't
really
work if they both weren't like, you know, heel characters, but
yeah,
it does. And also, I feel like
just leave that to Cody and Brandy to confuse everyone.
No more. Also, though, to point out, I feel like they AEW opens up with an Adam Cole segment or match a lot lately. I don't know if you guys have noticed that at all, but I feel like it's almost every week they open up with something with Adam Cole and the Young Bucks and whatnot. But it was a good opening segment, and I agree with you, Jeremy, about Britt and him, you know, pairing up. It's a good, the right time to also pair them up. How about you, Tim?
Yeah.
As far as like them bringing the behind the scenes romance on screen, I mean, look, we all know, right? So, and they talk about it on Twitter, and they joke around with Tony Schiavone about it. So, might as well just put it out there. As far as the segment itself, I think what it's going to eventually lead to is some sort of confrontation between what is their tag team name, Red Dragon.
Well, that's Fish and O'Reilly. Yeah. I think they might be going by Paragon. It was mentioned one time.
Yes,
I don't think that they've officially given them a group name yet.
But I think it's going to end up being
we
them
were
feuding
calling
with
them
the Young
undisputed.
Bucks.
Like,
Right. But I think it's going to end up them feuding with the Young Bucks, and then Adam Cole is going to be put into some kind of like compromised position where he's going to have to choose. I mean, come on, right? Like, am I the only one that sees that this is where this is going?
I think it's going to happen that way.
I think they could have a match between
when Kenny comes back.
Yeah, they could have a match between Red Dragon and then the Young Bucks. So possession of Adam Cole.
Yeah, I think they keep it going.
Just have him in like the tank above it. Or
Adam Cole in a cage match.
Adam Cole on a pole match. Very Vince Russo.
Yeah.
So we'll just have to see where it goes. After that, we had a match. It was Wardlow versus CM Punk, which was set up through MJF the week before. During the match, MJF, after many power bombs have already been done to CM Punk, MJF yells, "I want more." After the power bombs, he doesn't.
Yo, I called this.
Right away. Yeah, like, I don't know. There was an 8th power bomb through the table on the outside. MJF distracts Wardlow on accident. Punk goes for an inside cradle. 1, 2, 3. Winner CM Punk. I think you called that. It was just going to be like a destroying match.
No, I meant like, what it's leading to. No, I'm talking about like what it's leading to.
Oh, okay.
He's starting to get pissed.
And where do you think it's leading to? Like okay, yeah. I think, and we talked about this, I think Wardlow definitely is going to end up leaving MJF sooner or later.
He's going to destroy, he's going to beat MJF.
His breakout moment.
Yeah.
That's where you need like a Festival of Friendship kind of breakup. It's just wreak havoc on that fucking dude.
Yeah.
After the match, though, MJF, he yelled at Wardlow. He says, "You never win the big matches," and he pushes him. MJF puts his hands on him. Wardlow grabs MJF's hand and like pulls it right off of him. Then in comes Shawn Spears, tries to calm Wardlow down. So I think that's where we're going, guys.
The worst.
AEW does finally have some long-term storytelling. Oh, don't worry, Tim. I can mention something later in the show about Shawn Spears.
Let me tell you something. Okay,
yeah, you're gonna be really excited about it.
Conrad on his show hates Brutus the Barber Beefcake. Like that's he doesn't hate him, but that's like his guy that he's like, holy shit, this guy sucks. My guy is Shawn Spears. For whatever reason, he's just become that guy for me.
What you guys think of the match, though? Just Punk and Wardlow overall. I mean, it's the most Punk's been beaten down since it came.
Yeah. I mean, I really like it. That was perfect way to handle Wardlow. Like, he was obviously going to have to take the loss because there was people saying, I saw online that were like, how does Wardlow not win this? But like how are you going to have Punk lose his match just like this? Like, or his first match?
Well, that's why.
Because that first match when he loses has to be.
Well,
huge.
that's why I think through the distraction to MJF, they had to do this way. Yeah. That way, didn't really hurt either guy who won, as long as it was, it wasn't 100% clean.
Yeah,
Yeah, and I thought that was good. That's a perfect way.
I mean, and then here's the thing, right? Like, think about the experience of Punk and all the big guys he's been in the ring with. He's been in the ring with Brock. He's been in with Batista. He's been in with Undertaker. He's been in with Kane, Big Show. He knows how to put a guy that size and that athletic ability over. He's done it with the best of the best. So if I'm Wardlow, as the opportunity to get in there with Punk, I'm stoked.
Wasn't there an old story? He's like, I want you to make Roman look really, really strong.
I want you to make Roman look really, really strong. And he's like, fuck, I know, I heard you.
So yeah, he knows how to make a big guy look really, really strong, apparently. But after that, we had Powerhouse Hobbs versus Dante Martin, who has been, having a feud going on with Team Taz. It wasn't that long of a match. Winner was Dante Martin in the end. I think it was kind of like a quick win for the last couple moves. It just kind of came out. I remember watching it. To me, it came out of nowhere. It didn't feel like, that was going to be the end of the match. Yeah, I mean...
It was kind of like the previous match with Punk and Wardlow, but without the star power, and wasn't as good.
So not like the Punk and Wardlow match at all, really.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it was like a big guy and a smaller guy, like
David and Goliath.
Yeah, sometimes I feel like they don't know what to do with. Yeah, easy storytelling. The story writes itself.
That's classic wrestling.
After that match,
Rasslin. That spells wrestling.
So after that match, we had the Inner Circle backstage, but without Sami Guevara. Eddie Kingston interrupts. He says no one cares about Sami and that he just wants Daniel Garcia. Santana, because the main event of the show is going to be Daniel Garcia versus Sami Guevara. And so, Chris is with the Inner Circle saying he's going to be in Sami's corner, and then Eddie is saying that he's going to be in Sami's corner. But right now there's tension going on between Kingston and Jericho. Santana, he also says that, Santana and Ortiz aren't champions because of Jericho. And, Kingston was kind of like, with this guy, making it seem like Proud and Powerful need to pick sides. It's also like, do you guys see a Jericho and Eddie feud in the future? Because I feel like that's the part of this whole back and forth that I'm getting out of it week after week, is that there's tension between these two, and eventually they're going to come to blows.
Yeah, I feel like that's where they're going with it. Like, that's the purpose of it. But I kind of feel like Jericho, like, not yet, but he's getting close to like that go away heat where like he needs to go on like a Fozzy tour and be gone for a couple months and then come back.
Dude, he was on one and then he got hospitalized.
I know, but it was like he's like back, but he has like, I don't know, not much to do really. He doesn't really need to be there right now.
Where did we talk a few weeks ago?
Doing just fine, but
no, there was a few episodes ago where I think I had mentioned that. I said, where do you guys see Jericho now that, we have all these new people? And then I remember Jeremy saying, well, in the beginning, he was essential, right? Because he was like the main guy that we had. The thing is, though, and here's what's crazy, okay? If you watch, I just watched it the other day, and I was like, I can't believe that this was only, 4 years ago, 3 years ago. If you watch the Kenny versus Jericho match in Japan, the way Jericho moves, I'm like, what happened? Like, he aged like 10 years in like 2 years. It's so weird. It's so weird, man.
Yeah.
Like, and I know that, once you reach 50, things happen, and it's like, I'm not even an athlete, all right? So I'm not going to talk shit. I'm just saying, like, it's very bizarre. So if he was giving these, like, amazing performances, I think people would be, like, still excited to see him. It's just, like, he's doing the bad comedy and the square head thing. It's just, for me, it's not working. He has come up.
Yeah, that part really like ramped it up.
Yeah. So I'm like, where, what do they do? Look, he's collecting money. He probably really, honestly, at the end of the day, he's got his crews. He's got his band he can tour with. He's always had money from wrestling for the last, 25 years. So it's like, creatively, artistically, is he really worried about it? I don't know. But it does make me curious.
You got to think about it for a second. He really doesn't wrestle that many matches a year now. He appears on TV a lot, but actually wrestling, I think he's only wrestling like 10 to 20 matches a year.
No, I know. It's just when somebody posted, it was something recently. It was like on this date, what was it, like 2017, Chris Jericho versus Kenny Omega and it was like the time and place. And I watched the clips of it, and the way Jericho was moving, I was like, I just don't understand. Like, I just don't understand, like, what in that year or two, like, what changed so much. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know, because I know
Maybe I'm being harsh
whenever I
on
see
the
him do
guy.
a lion salt now, I'm like, I'm so scared whenever he tries one. Just like, but I wasn't at the time that he wrestled Kenny Omega in New Japan. But nowadays, I'm just like, God, like, maybe it's after seeing that Dark Side of the Ring
and just
documentary where the guy broke his neck.
The one thing I do want to touch on is, just so like people don't get it twisted, is like I see people all the time being like, Jericho's fat now, and I'm like, okay, well, first of all, he's not fat. The dude still has like a 6-pack. He's 50 years old. Like, what do you want from the guy? Now, there could be listeners thinking, Tim, you're saying that same thing about him moving around. I'm just saying, like, if honestly, if that's how like the human body works, then damn. But I'm just saying, it's just shocking to see a guy who moved around a certain way, and then a year or two later, basically doesn't even move close to that anymore. So that's all I'm saying. I'm not saying, you should go back to that moving around like he's 30. I'm just saying, like, whoa, if you like look at how fast and how drastically it changed, it's shocking.
Well, let's move on from the Jericho bashing, because we just went to a tangent out from the Eddie Kingston stuff. So I know it's so after that backstage,
let's do 5 minutes more on how much we hate Jericho now.
So after the backstage segment, we had MJF comes back out. This is already after the Wardlow match. He's on the mic. He says CM Punk ended up getting a victory over a quote unquote oaf, is what he called Wardlow. And he said next week it's going to be CM Punk versus Shawn Spears. Tim, get ready. Tim. Next Dynamite.
CM Punk versus the Chairman. Wrestle.
Main event.
Yeah,
who is he friends with?
Like, I can.
He's friends with somebody. Who were you friends with?
I don't know, man. He came up.
Isn't he friends with Cody?
He paired him with Cody right away, and then did that.
Yeah, there's a reason.
Back of the head, and like that.
This guy. Think about how much TV time this guy gets. Yeah. Sickening.
Here's the second rant.
So after that, we had rant number 2 of coming along. After that, we had Adam Cole, Red Dragon, and the Young Bucks backstage. Britt Baker ends up coming up, and they announced for next week there's a mixed tag match. It's Adam Cole and Britt Baker versus Orange Cassidy and Chris Statlander. So, is this the first mixed tag match on AEW that you guys can think of?
Yeah, it is. I'm curious to see how they do the rules, because like some of them do, like if the women tag in, then the guy has to go tag out.
Well,
It's not like everyone can just kind of fight.
I wasn't sure if like Kip Saban and Penelope Ford had one before or not. I mean, that's the only like couple that was like on screen.
I think she just interfered.
Okay.
Yeah.
So moving on after that, we had Hangman Adam Page segment comes out, and Dan Lambert interrupts.
This was disappointing, like the entire segment after this.
I was talking to you, Jeremy, and I thought maybe Mox might come back, because he never got to finish the tournament, and it's an easy setup for his next challenger. Yeah. Well, Dan Lambert brings out Lance Archer. Who knew that they were doing anything together? Which, welcome back from your injury, but it just like deflated my hopes of what it was going to be. So Lance Archer comes out and attacks Adam Page. So there's your next feud, guys. Adam Page versus Lance Archer. What do y'all think?
Not excited at all about this.
Just get it over with.
To be honest. Yeah. Just hopefully they find him someone else before the pay-per-view.
Yeah, again, I'm not excited about this. I don't want anybody to think that we're like, I love AEW. I've loved WWE my whole life. I'll call it like I see it. If AEW does something that I'm like, I'm going to call it like it is. Don't really care about this. Again, like Andy said, welcome back from your injury. Feels like they couldn't figure out how to reintroduce him, stick him with this guy because he's got some heat. I don't know. It just feels thrown together.
Well, after that, we had a backstage segment with Arn Anderson, Lee Moriarty, and Brock Anderson. Tully and FTR interrupt the interview, and they schedule a match for next week. Brock Anderson and Lee Moriarty versus FTR. After that, we had a video package for Jade Cargill. And then we had because obviously Jade Cargill is the new TBS champion. After that, we had, I don't know, like the 5th or 6th match of their feud. Serena Deeb versus Hikaru.
It was the 4th one.
4th. Feels like fucking 10, dude. Serena Deeb versus Hikaru Shida. Winner was Serena Deeb due to stoppage during a submission. And then Serena attacked afterwards. But I just read today Hikaru Shida's back in Japan. I don't know if she's going to be over there for a little bit, but maybe the attack was a way to get her off of television for a little bit while she was over there, and then they'll bring her back for match number 5. So, then we had a backstage segment. It was Jurassic Express and Christian Cage. John Silver, a.k.a. Johnny Hungy, and Alex Reynolds come up. And they schedule a match, I believe, for Dynamite. Come up, right? Or no, Rampage. Sorry, they schedule a match against for the tag team championships, actually, for Rampage. So that's supposed to be the main event for Rampage this week. Then we have a match with Penta, and I don't know why. Sorry, guys, I didn't write down who he wrestled, but the winner in the end was Penta, and afterwards he calls out Malachi Black, and Malachi Black attacks. Varsity Blondes come out and they attack, and then after just kind of being stomped down by them, Black is just laughing at them. He's on the ground on like one knee, and he's looking up at them, and he's laughing. Lights go out, and out or appearing in the ring is Brody King from ROH, who is also tag team champions with Black in PWG. They're known as the Kings of the Black Throne, I believe. So it looks like Brody King is now all elite and part of House of Black, which I think you had been kind of thinking that he was going to come to the company, Jeremy. What do you all think? I never really watched his stuff. I know he was part of a 3-man team with Marty Scurll and was it like POC? I think was his name. But
I think so, yeah.
In ROH. But yeah, how do you feel about Brody King? Are you excited for him?
Yeah, I think this is great for Malachi Black too. Just because those two look like they should be paired together, and also their styles go really well. Like I've seen them tag a few times, and I've really enjoyed their matches. But I thought the interesting thing before he debuted was I forget her name. Like I don't remember any of the Varsity Blondes' names other than
Pillman Jr.
I can't remember anyone's. Yeah.
Oh God, I forgot the other week, and then we remembered it. And now we're forgetting again.
I
think the girl's Julia Hart. Julia Hart, I think, is her name.
But Julia Hart, that's what it is. Yes, Julia Hart.
I'm sorry, other blonde guy.
But she was yelling at them. Yeah, she was saying like, I think he's had enough. Like, stopping them from beating up Malachi Black. So I'm kind of wondering like if she might turn eventually and go into the House of Black. Because he put the mist. So apparently the mist is supposed to do something. I don't know. It's done nothing to others, but it's doing something to her.
How about you, Tim?
I like it. I think it's a good refresher for Malachi. I thought about Andy. Long story short, again, we're about to be 20 episodes in. This is episode 19. If everybody doesn't know, Andy and I are brothers. I see him quite often. He lives in a different state, but somehow we still see each other pretty often. So he was just actually over last night, and we were talking about this, and I said, I don't know how I feel about them making Malachi a tag guy, because notoriously in the past on the show, I didn't like when he's been paired up. But the longer I've kind of sat and thought about it, and when I was preparing notes for the show today, I think that it's a good thing. Malachi talks about the House of Black, and his fans are the House of Black, but that also should be. It sounds like he's talking about something more. So if you're going to add in a new, I don't want to say character, but a new person into this group, like, this is the best fit. And if you're a hardcore wrestling fan, like Jeremy knows, and I'm not. I used to watch old Ring of Honor and stuff, but I'm not super into indie wrestling. I'm going to be like fully transparent here on the show. Jeremy's a lot more educated on it than I am. So, if you're super into that world, that there's a history there. So that's a cool, what do they call that? Easter egg for people who have been following their careers for a long time. Overall, though, I think it's new, it's different, it's exciting. Hopefully it gives Malachi a little bit of just something to get people more re-engaged again, because again, it felt weird for a second. He was paired up with Andrade, and he was kind of floating around. He beat up Cody Rhodes a bunch of times. So this is good. I think this is good.
Alrighty. After that, we had Chris
Classic.
Statlander, Red Velvet, and Layla Hirsch backstage having an interview. Sorry. We always end on you, Tim, so it's just like, yeah, it's all good.
I always leave with the hot take, and then there's like the, all right. So anyways.
All right, moving on. So yeah, Chris Statlander, Red Velvet, and Layla Hirsch have an interview. They're talking about their upcoming trios tag match, this coming Rampage. After that, we had a match with the Acclaimed against Bear Country. Your winners were the Acclaimed, but afterwards, Sting comes out, and then Darby Allin comes out and surprise attacks Max Caster in the ring. So Darby and Sting are now feuding with the Acclaim, which I actually don't hate. I know I've said before, like, I don't really like the Acclaim, but you look at someone like Darby and you look at like someone like the members of the Acclaim, and they are complete opposite character-wise. Like, one's like basically like an in-ring rap group kind of. Then you have like dark, broody, like Sting and like Darby Allin. It's complete opposite. But yeah, so that they're kind of feuding.
I'm liking the Acclaim more and more, actually. Like, the more they're on TV, I'm like, actually, I like these guys.
They're starting to grow on me too, and I just like talked bad about them last week.
Yeah. Yeah. Did you see their music video? Was that on Rampage, or
was that on Rampage?
Was that on
this
Dynamite?
week. Yeah, they had a music video where they're dressed up as like Sting and Darby Allin.
Yeah, that was kind of funny, I thought.
Speaking of the Mist, though, changing people, we had a video message from Pac. I guess all the way over in the UK. I'm sure because of the pandemic, that's why he hasn't been on TV. Kind of like what happened to him before. But he has a bandage over both eyes, saying that, he's basically blinded now. And I don't know, it was like dark and like a dark twisted like video about like he doesn't need his vision. He can see everything clearly now kind of thing. But that's all because of I don't know, Malachi Black, I guess, changed him in some way with the Mist. I didn't know he got both eyes. I know he was wearing an eye patch for a little bit. Maybe he got the other eye and now he's blinded in both eyes, but.
Yeah. You know what's funny, though, is so all these people who've gotten the Mist have, like, had eye patches or something, like, right? Cody got it, twice. He's fine. Keeps going.
He's just like, you have nothing to see here, guys.
Do you remember there was like a string of just stupid...
It happened before they decided.
Do you remember there was just like a string of stupid eye shit that happened for a while? Like Rey Mysterio's eyeball came out, and then they did an eye
that was
for
in WWE,
eye
yeah.
thing on the 8.
Then they did to Malachi.
It's just like, there's... Ugh. Stop.
Keep it going, guys. Keep going with the eye stuff.
Don't do the eyes anymore.
Afterwards, though, we had Matt Hardy backstage, and Andrade comes up and interrupts. And, I think he's pretty much talking about, he has like a money deal that he wants to talk with Matt about. Because big money Matt, loves money. So, and that led us to our main event, which was Sammy Guevara, who's the interim champion, TNT champion, against Daniel Garcia. Match was actually pretty good, I thought. Your winner was Sammy Guevara, though. And afterwards, 2.0 attacked. And then, Jericho and Eddie Kingston get involved, but there's tension between Jericho and Eddie. And then that's how the show went off the air. Yeah, what you guys think of, this match? I don't know when Cody's coming back. I don't think they've said it, but for now, Sammy is the interim champion. And it's going to continue defending, I guess, till...
Yeah, I think they announced, they announced that I think Cody's coming back next week.
Is he? Okay.
I think because I think he tested positive for COVID, so
okay.
I think he's like negative now. But yeah, it still feels like a kind of filler for Sammy right now. Just all the stuff he's been doing. Like this match was pretty good, but it wasn't like the main point of the main event. It was like Eddie and Jericho stuff at the end. So I just kind of wish that they would push Sammy a little bit more into that focus.
Yeah, the spotlight kind of went off of Sammy after that win and went on to Jericho and Eddie.
Yeah.
Sammy Guevara. I think that it's good. No, like Sammy needed this because when he lost that title, I was very surprised that they took it off him that soon. Look, I don't not like Cody. That was a lot of likes in one sentence. It's not that I don't like him. It's just I just didn't think it was time. I think I even said on the show,
dude.
I was
He's
shocked.
white bread.
He's like Superman, like that's for some people. You like Superman, that's cool, but I'm a Batman guy, okay? And I want a little edge. But yeah, no, I think Sammy having another opportunity to get some spotlight back on him is good, and he's awesome. I mean, I don't think he should have been taken out of the picture so quickly, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
That wrapped up Dynamite. There's a couple of things to talk about from SmackDown this week, though, if you guys want to get into it. Me and Tim actually watched this together, and unfortunately, there was a lot that could have been skipped, especially that Sami Zayn segment, but we don't have to talk about it. Instead, we will talk about Lita returned to SmackDown for the first time, I think they said, in like 20 years. She was like pretty much always Raw towards the end of her career.
Really?
But like for a little bit, yeah. I mean, it was at least like 20 years tops, but it was like somewhere close to it. She came out of the ring, said, she might have one run left in her. So that's why she's talking about the Rumble, hyping it up. And out comes Charlotte Flair. Charlotte and her kind of get into it. Charlotte talks about how she retired her friend Trish Stratus at SummerSlam 2019. And I'm kind of curious where this goes, because even if like Lita doesn't win the Rumble, which I don't know if I want that to happen, it's almost like they're building for like a Charlotte and Lita match though at like a Mania or something. So I'm curious to your guys' thoughts. It was good to see her back on TV. I've always liked Lita. I'm pretty sure Tim has always too, and it'll be interesting because she's popped in and out for like the Evolution pay-per-view or like the Rumble before, but she's never like had another run like Trish did, at least like that goes to a pay-per-view of a one match. Yeah, how do you guys feel if like Charlotte were to say retire Lita like she did with Trish, or re-retire?
That sounds pretty cool to me. Like, it's always cool to see Lita back. You can see the difference of like the level like her and Trish were at for wrestlers compared to everyone now, like on the show especially. That's just not even like in the female roster, just like in the male roster as well. But yeah, Lita and Charlotte, I think that we hopefully like Lita like can still go, because I know when people like those legends come back, it's like usually they're not the same always, but she seems like she can always still go. But yeah, Charlotte retiring her seems like it'd be a good fit, because Charlotte's just that type of heel too.
Yeah, I hope that she can still go as well. I was thinking about it. I told Andy I think that Lita's gonna win the Women's Rumble, and this is gonna be one of their main events at WrestleMania. Okay. That's my pick.
Edge last year, her this year.
Next year, live sex celebration 2.
This time Beth gets involved. Terrible.
That's awful.
Sorry, guys.
Good Lord. Good Lord.
So getting dark here.
Yeah, my goodness.
The main event, though, of how do you segue off of that? The main event of SmackDown was an in-ring segment with Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins. I'm actually really excited for this match. I was talking to him about it last night while we were watching it. I think Seth is going to, we talked about it last week, I think Seth is going to win the match. Maybe not cleanly, maybe some distraction or something, but to get the belt off of Roman so that Roman can go feud with Brock at Mania and then, get the belt back again, probably. Speaking of Roman, I think today is now officially the longest reigning Universal Champion, surpassing Brock before. I think they said 504 days. God, it's been a long time.
Yeah.
But yeah, so this segment with Roman and Seth, Seth in a way kind of belittled Roman and said that, Roman was nothing without him, being the Shield, and Rollins taking him under his wing. Rollins basically saying that he was doing this for a while, and all Roman had before this was the CFL. And in a way, I think Roman kind of cowered a little bit to him, but then he also didn't, saying that, basically he's a different Roman than, he was back then. But Seth did bring up that in their one-on-one singles
mode now,
matches,
son. I'm in God mode.
That's right. He did. That's right. He did say he's in God mode. God, that he said he's in God mode. But Rollins brought up that he's won every singles match that they've had against each other. So how do you guys feel about this feud, where it's headed? Who do you think's gonna win? Do you guys really think Seth will win like I do, or?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. Like, because you talked about that last week, and that makes perfect sense, because I think they really do want to do Roman and Brock still at Mania, at Mania probably. But yeah, I feel like Roman and Seth are just kind of similar to like Punk and Bryan Danielson, as in you can always put them together and they're gonna do great. They're gonna have amazing matches, and then you try to keep them away from each other as long as possible. Then, but so this is gonna be probably a 5-star match, I'm guessing. From how they usually are, but yeah, it's kind of cool to see them back together too.
I'm super excited. Yeah, these two guys are great. I like to call them the long black wet hair club, because every time they're in the ring together, I'm like, man, these guys are weirdly similar. But no, it's awesome. Like Jeremy said, this is a great pairing. They always deliver. I can see why they go to it. Andy, I can see what you mean about Seth winning, I just don't know, man. I'm just like, Roman's on
I'm not
such
saying it's
a
going to be
roll.
clean.
To
Just
me,
saying
no, but listen, to me, the better story is you have the two guys go to Mania, and then you reunite the titles into one important championship and stop all of this silliness. But that's not going to be what happens. But to me, that's the story.
They bring them together, and then in 5 years, they separate them again.
Whatever, until Vince gets bored again. But I'm just saying, putting an importance on the title.
I agree. So yeah, again, like we said, though, we'll just with the Brock and Lashley stuff, we're just gonna have to wait 2 more weeks from today, I think, figure out what happens. Wrapping this up, though, there's just a few stuff I want to talk about from Rampage. One was the opening contest. It was Adam Cole versus Trent Beretta, or as I like to say, the better wrestler of the best friends. It was a good match. You had Chris Statlander on the outside. You also had Britt Baker on the outside. In the end, the winner was Adam Cole. What do you think of the match, Jeremy?
Yeah, it was cool to see Trent wrestle again. Like, you forget that he is the best one out of the best friends.
Yeah.
Just because, like, I mean, other than Orange Cassidy, but like Trent and the shape that he's in now, it's like before he got injured, he was kind of like that more like a bigger build, and now he's like that lean. Like, it seems like he can go like an hour-long match easily right now. But and it's kind of cool to give him Adam Cole the focus now too, like you said before. Just kind of continuing that into Rampage.
But the final thing I wanted to talk about, unless you got to take, Tim.
No, I'm good. You keep going.
So, towards the end of the show, I don't believe it was the very end of the show, but Ricky Starks is on the commentators at the commentators desk, and is talking about how Jay Lethal, during Dynamite at the end of the Dante Martin Powerhouse Hobbs match, helped Dante get away. Ricky Starks, basically talking about he doesn't know why Jay Lethal is getting involved. So then Jay Lethal comes out and talks to Ricky Starks face to face at the desk. Says, he doesn't really have that many contenders for that FTW title. Maybe it's because AEW doesn't even recognize it as an official title, which that fires up Ricky Starks. But Jay Lethal says he wants a crack at him, so it looks like we're getting Jay Lethal versus Ricky Starks for the FTW championship. I mean, it's about time they did something with Jay Lethal since getting there. I feel like he hasn't done anything.
I literally
since,
was thinking that
debuting at the last
exact
sentence. So I don't care if it's for the FTW title and he wins it or something. It's just like, just do something, dude. You're wasting Jay Lethal.
He's doing something.
Yeah, how do you guys feel about this?
Well, is that...
Yeah, that's kind of the kind of thing with AEW is like, with AEW, with having that large roster, like, it's kind of cool they can interchange things like that, like have Jay Lethal come out and you're like, oh, he's fresh because you haven't seen him in a while. But then it's also like, well, you just signed him and now you're not doing anything with him for like a whole month, basically. So,
yeah, it's like
kind of like, the pros and cons of having a big roster.
Yeah, I'm glad that they're finally doing some. No, I'm glad that they're finally doing something with him. And like you were saying, it's about time. I was literally thinking that exact same thing. He had that big introduction, and then you didn't really hear anything from him. But what do you think, Andy? Does that about wrap it up for the week, or do you have anything else that you want to cover?
I think that just about wraps it up based on what I got off of my notes.
Well, before we head out tonight, I wanted to say a couple things. Number one is this is episode 19, and next week is episode 20. Before we got to episode 20, we ended up being able to start doing some videos, so I'm grateful for that. And I just wanted to say that I'm really grateful for Andy and Jeremy both. This was an idea that Jeremy and I basically came up with while he was getting his haircut one time, and the fact that next week will be 20 episodes is pretty crazy to me. And the fact that there's a solid group of people, excuse me, there's a solid group of people who listen every week means a lot. And I'm just glad that we can continue to do this every week. And I just wanted to thank both of you on air because it means a lot to me. So I wanted to thank you guys both. But
no problem, man.
Yeah, I have the best time doing this week.
Yeah.
And I've learned a lot. You know, there's a lot of podcasts that I love. The Joe Budden podcast, Adam 22, No Jumper. I love Ethan from H3. I love all the wrestling podcasts, Conrad, Corny, all those guys. They're all inspirations. And the fact that we are able to be creative together in a space like this is awesome. And I would not want to do it with anybody else but you two guys. So with that being said, you know, if you can follow us on Twitter and Instagram at the PW Fan, that would be amazing. Follow Andy's Funko Pop collection at the 410 Fan Bros on Instagram. Thanks again for listening, and join us next week where we talk all things wrestling on the PW Fan.